They told you that self-focus was selfish, that if you dared to put yourself first, you were arrogant. Selfish? Cold? That focusing on your own peace was somehow abandoning others. But let me tell you something they don't want you to know. That was the lie. That was the trap. Because here's the truth. Self-focus is not selfish. It's survival. It's clarity. It's the ignition switch for everything you're trying to become. See, what nobody ever taught you is that you can't lead others if you're lost. You petition. You can't love deeply if you don't know who you are. You can't heal the world when you're bleeding from wounds you refuse to look at. But it's the repetition. And you definitely can't build a life you're proud of when you're living by someone else's blueprint. And most people don't realize it until their body breaks down, until their soul whispers, then screams, enough, until they hit the wall that says, you've been giving everything away and saving nothing for yourself. But you're waking up now. You're starting to feel it, aren't you? That pull, that quiet knowing deep in your bones, the voice that says, I've been too distracted, too far from myself. That's not weakness. That's your inner intelligence finally breaking through the noise. That's your soul saying, focus. On me, we live in a world that profits off your disconnection. You understand that, right? Your confusion, that's monetized. Your constant scrolling, that's designed. Your addiction to comparison, your craving for validation, all of it is engineered to keep you looking out there so you never realize the real power is in here. And when you do realize it, when you start pulling your attention away from their expectations, their noise, their judgments, and you begin focusing on yourself truly and unapologetically, something dangerous starts happening. You start to remember who the hell you are. Not the edited version. Not the one who shrinks to make others comfortable. Not the one who says yes when your entire soul is screaming no. I'm talking about the you beneath all that. The clear you, the honest you, the real you. But clarity doesn't come easy. Oh no, it comes through fire, through discomfort, through saying, I can't live like this anymore. Through sitting in silence when the world tells you to post something, through choosing rest over hustle, through walking away from people who once felt like home, because now you realize they never saw you clearly. Self-focus is terrifying because it demands responsibility. You can't blame them anymore. You can't pretend to be helpless. You have to own your choices, your patterns, your habits, your healing. And that's hard. That's real work. That's the work that nobody can do for you. But it's also the most powerful thing you'll ever do. Because the moment you start focusing on yourself, you stop giving away your power like candy. You stop asking for permission to live. You stop waiting to be chosen because you've already chosen yourself. You begin setting boundaries without guilt. You start dreaming bigger because now you know you're allowed to. You move from pleasing to purpose, from noise to knowing, from reaction to intention. People might not like it. Let me be real with you. When you shift your focus inward, people will notice. Some will fall away. Some will be threatened because the version of you they were comfortable with, that version was easy to control. But this new you, this focused, clear-rooted version, that version doesn't play small. That repetition, that version break just because someone else is uncomfortable. And that's the price of clarity. You don't just gain vision, you lose illusion. You lose the fake friendships, the shallow commitments, the approval addiction, the mask. And in return, you gain everything. You gain peace, not the fake kind that comes from avoiding conflict, but the deep kind that comes from alignment. You gain energy because you're no longer wasting it on things that drain you. You gain direction because your decisions are no longer dictated by fear, but by truth. Look, you don't need another course. You don't need another motivational quote. You don't need more external noise. What you need is to come home, back to your own mind, your own body, your own truth. You've been outsourcing your power for too long. You've been waiting for someone to give you the green light. But here's the thing, you are the damn light. When you stop giving 90% of your focus to things that don't matter and instead start giving even 10% to you, your growth, your rest, your clarity, the entire direction of your life changes. Slowly at first, then suddenly. That's when real confidence is born. Not the loud, performative kind, but the quiet, unshakable kind. The kind that doesn't need to prove anything. The kind that walks into a room and doesn't need to speak to be felt. The kind that knows, I belong because I belong to myself. That's the power of self-focus. It's not just about success. It's about sovereignty, ownership, choice. It's about standing in the storm of opinions and not being moved. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't just chase peace. They embody it, and you don't get there by to control everything out there. You get there by mastering what's in here. You get there by choosing you again and again and again. Not once, not when it's convenient, not when it's popular, but every damn day, in small ways, in massive ones, in moments when it would be easier to run back to the noise, but you don't. Because now you know better, and once you know, you can't unknow. Once you taste clarity, chaos doesn't hit the same. That's the shift. That's the unlock. That's when everything starts to align. So if you're tired of being lost, tired of being drained, tired of being everything to everyone and nothing to yourself, then listen to me right now. Turn it all down and turn you up. Your future is on the other side of that mirror, and it's been waiting on you to come back home. They want you distracted. And when I say they, I mean the system, the culture, the noise. All of it. It's built to keep you scrolling, comparing, doubting, second-guessing yourself, and calling it normal life. You think it's just you. No, it's designed. Every notification, every feed, every trend is engineered to pull you further away from yourself, to split your mind 1,000 different ways so you never focus on the one thing that could change your entire life in you. Because the moment you focus on yourself, truly, deeply, fully, you become a threat. You become uncontrollable. You stop needing their approval. You stop chasing their timeline. You stop showing up with your hands out begging for validation. And that terrifies them. Because a focused mind is dangerous. A focused soul is unshakable. A person who's not distracted by the noise is a person who becomes impossible to manipulate. They feed you distractions like candy. Here, take this drama. Watch this headline. Argue over this. Chase that. Compare yourself to them. Lose sleep over what they think of you. And while you're doing all that, they're winning. They're getting exactly what they want. A version of you that's exhausted, anxious, disconnected, insecure, and most importantly, too distracted to remember what you were born for. That's how powerful you are. It takes an entire machine to keep you from seeing it. It takes a whole culture of noise to keep your light dimmed. But once you decide to focus, Once you start pulling your energy back into yourself, they can't touch you. Your mind becomes your weapon. Your peace becomes your armor. You start seeing clearly. You start moving differently. You realize you don't need to win every argument. You don't need to be liked by everybody. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be present. Centered. Because when you focus, you become intentional. And when you become intentional, you become powerful. You stop reacting and start choosing. You stop being controlled and start leading. And that's why they fear your focus. Because they know a focused version of you isn't just awake. You're alive. You're not just living. You're creating. You're building. You're healing. You're breaking cycles. You're stepping into a version of yourself that doesn't flinch when life gets loud. Because your inner world is louder. This isn't about arrogance. This is about remembering, about unplugging from the chaos and plugging back into your own power. You're not here to be a puppet. You're not here to live distracted. You're here to rise, to lead, to live on purpose. So stop feeding the noise. Starve the distractions. Turn your gaze inward, because the world doesn't change when you chase it. The world changes when you return to yourself. You've been taught to believe that power comes from doing more hustle, more effort, more grind. If you're not constantly moving, if you're not always busy, if you're not stacking your to-do list a mile high, then you're doing something wrong, right? That's the lie they sell you, that success is earned through exhaustion, that your worth is tied to your output. But let me tell you something that's going to flip everything you've ever believed upside down. Power doesn't come from doing more. It comes from being more honest. Let that sink in. You've been running around trying to prove yourself, trying to get more done. And somewhere along the way, you lost touch with the truth of who you are. The truth of what you actually need. The truth of where your energy should be spent. You've been hustling because someone told you that was the path to success. But all you're doing is running in circles, burning yourself out, and never asking the most important question, why am I doing this? That's where the shift happens. When you stop looking outside of yourself for validation, for approval, for answers, and start looking within, that's when the power shifts. That's when you step into who you were always meant to be. It's not about more effort. It's about deeper alignment. When you focus on being honest with yourself, everything changes. Your decisions change. The way you spend your time changes. The way you show up changes. Because now you're not driven by what everyone else wants. You're driven by what you want. What's in your heart? What lights you up? What feels true to who you really are, not who you've been told to be. And that takes courage. It takes guts to be honest with yourself. Because the truth is, when you start listening to that inner voice, it might tell you some things you don't want to hear. It might tell you that the job you've been grinding away at isn't actually making you happy. It might tell you that the relationship you're trying so hard to make work is draining you more than it's fulfilling you. It might tell you that you've been chasing someone else's version of success for so long that you've lost track of your own. Being honest with yourself means looking at all of that and saying, I can't keep going like this. It means choosing to walk away from what no longer serves you. It means taking the mask off and showing up in the world as your true self, not the version that's trying to keep everyone else happy or approve of you. It means finally trusting yourself enough to say, I am enough just as I am, and I don't need to prove myself to anyone. When you make that shift from doing more to being more honest, something incredible happens. You begin to stop fighting against your own truth, and you start living in alignment with it. You stop battling with the parts of you that you've been suppressing and instead start honoring them. That's when the real power starts to emerge. Because the truth is, you've been holding yourself back. You've been afraid of your own potential. But once you tap into that honesty, once you let go of the fear of who you might become, you unleash the most powerful version of yourself. Imagine what it would be like to stop chasing after everyone else's goals and instead focus on the ones that feel right for you. Imagine what it would be like to no longer compare yourself to the success of others, because you finally know that your path is unique and your worth isn't tied to anyone else's journey. Imagine how much clearer your decisions would be if you stopped asking everyone else what you should do and just trusted your own intuition. That's power. That's authenticity. And that's where your true strength lies. You see, it's not about being busy. It's not about doing things just for the sake of doing them. It's about doing things because they matter, because they resonate with who you are at your core. When you start to live in alignment with your truth, everything begins to flow. You stop feeling like you're swimming upstream, fighting against the current, and you start moving with ease and purpose. You stop draining yourself with meaningless tasks, and you start filling your life with what truly nourishes you. And let's be honest, there's a certain level of discomfort that comes with being honest with yourself. It's not always easy to face the truth about your life, your relationships, or your career. It's not always easy to admit that you've been living for everyone else instead of for yourself. But here's the thing, that discomfort is where growth happens. That's where the magic is. You can stay stuck in the same patterns. You can keep doing what you're supposed to do, running in circles, proving your worth through your endless to-do lists. Or you can choose to step into the discomfort of honesty. You can choose to face the truth. And in doing so, you unlock the power to create a life that's actually yours. Once you start making decisions from a place of honesty, the whole world begins to shift. You stop saying yes when you mean no. You stop doing things out of obligation. You stop running from your own truth because you're afraid of what others might think. You start saying yes to the things that light you up. You start creating boundaries that protect your peace. You start choosing the path that aligns with your soul, even if it's not the most popular one. And as you begin to trust yourself more, you'll start seeing that the effort you put into your life will no longer feel like a grind. It will feel like flow, like purpose. Like you're finally doing the things that matter, and the energy you put into them is returned to you tenfold. That's what happens when you stop focusing on doing more and start focusing on being more honest. You begin to live with intention. And when you live with intention, your power is unstoppable. So stop running yourself ragged, trying to keep up with the world's expectations. Stop drowning in the noise of constant doing. Instead, turn inward. Get honest with yourself. Ask yourself what you really want, not what you think you should want. And then give yourself permission to go after it. The moment you start doing that, The moment you start living from a place of honesty, you'll realize you've been holding the key to your own power all along. You've spent so much of your life waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right person to come along and give you the green light. You've been waiting for validation, approval, for someone to tell you, yes, now you can start. But here's the harsh truth: your life will only change when you do, not when they say you're ready, not when everything is perfect, not when the stars align. It happens the moment you decide. It's so easy to get caught up in the idea that something external needs to shift first. We convince ourselves that we'll make that move, take that leap, or chase that dream when the conditions are right, when we've got more money, more time, more experience. But let me tell you, that moment will never come. It's a trap. The conditions are never going to be perfect. There will always be something, some reason to wait, some reason to hold back. The only thing holding you back is the belief that you need to be more before you can take action. You've been telling yourself, I'll go after it when I have this, when I know this, when I feel this way. But here's the truth: you already have everything you need to take the first step. It's not about waiting for the world to tell you it's your time. It's about telling the world that you are ready now, right now, in this moment, despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the uncertainty. The people who change their lives don't wait for everything to be perfect. They choose to step forward with what they have, even if it's imperfect, even if it's messy, even if it's scary as hell. You have to own your life, own your choices, own your power. Stop waiting for someone to hand you permission, to tell you that it's okay to be big, to be bold, to take up space. No one's going to give you that green light, because you're the one who has to give it to yourself. You have to choose yourself. You have to decide that you're worthy of the things you've been putting off. You have to believe that the time is now. And here's the thing: when you make that choice, everything shifts. It's not about having all the answers. It's about stepping into the unknown with all of your doubts and fears and saying, I'm going to do it anyway. When you do that, something incredible happens. You gain momentum. You gain confidence. You start moving in the direction of your dreams instead of spinning in circles, waiting for the perfect time. The more you wait, the more you put off your future. Every day you tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, is another day you rob yourself of progress. Every moment you hesitate is another moment that your dreams stay just out of reach. And every day you tell yourself you'll go for it, when the time is right. You're reinforcing the idea that your future is something that happens to you, not something you create. Your life will change the moment you stop waiting and start deciding. It's a simple decision, but it's the most powerful thing you'll ever do. The moment you choose to move forward, you open up a world of possibilities. And the best part is, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start. Because once you start, you'll figure it out. The answers will come as you move. The clarity will come through action, not overthinking. And that's when the magic begins. So stop waiting. Stop watching other people live their lives while you hold yourself back. Stop sitting on the sidelines. Your life is waiting for you to step into it. It's waiting for you to show up, to take the leap, to take action. Your dreams are waiting for you to claim them. and they're only ever going to become your reality when you stop waiting and start living them.